Hi, how are you? Welcome back to the Siliou Universe. I'm so glad that you're here. We're doing some more character profiles today, or we're going to do actually a group of characters. So we did the species, the Felrin, from the Felrin star system, who actually run the Felrin Galaxy last time. Today, much anticipation and excitement, we're going to be doing the Necromancers. So this is actually a shout out to Discount Faye on my Instagram because I know she's obsessed with Prince Addi. So Prince Addi is a part of the Mortis family who are necromancers on Rivalex. Their city is Sile, so there are three species on Rivalex and what's a tri-species planet. And the necromancers are based in Sile, which are part of the south. Now their subspecies crossbreeds with archaea cells so they can survive through long periods of, I guess, volcanic times, or when the habitation is so like scarce and dry and uninhabitable, basically, that they can still survive with little to no anything in their system. They obviously turn grey, so they're from their preform to full form. I don't know if I've discussed preform before, but preform is actually about how the characters can look like they're Homo sapiens, and then as they've evolved to Homo captrosus, they can actually go back from their preform human form to looking form, appearance like, or evolve into their transformed species form, that their subspecies that actually allows them to adapt in their ecosystem. So the necromancers, because the area in the south is quite, it's difficult to habitate because it's just basically hard clay soil where there's not much produce being filled, they can, I guess, evolve and transform, and therefore can survive in that period during periods of time where it's always like that. So yeah, we do have, when we meet the necromancers in style, we meet Archmage Conrolic, who takes us across to the necromancers. So the Archmage is the necromancer's form of aura user. They are acquiring, and I don't know whether I should give this away, but the SILKRI, so the Felrin use Kanjing, which I haven't really mentioned, and the Necromancers, once upon a time, through the defeated king and through Silas SILKRI, used the SILKRI. So that aura, there's questions on whether it has been reborn, and you meet this necromancer family. So the king is King Elena Mortis, and then you meet his sons, his brothers, who are his late brother's wife as well, and her children, and how they are spawning what's called drakes. So the SILKRI drake, is basically the opposition of the Felrin Lee Sheik. So there's not many SILKRI drakes around, and they've kind of crept back up in the realms of, after a certain amount of lineage, they've been developed again. So I'm going to give you a short extract on the necromancers. And yeah, again, shout out to Discount Faye because I know she loves Prince Addi, who is very much a misunderstood character. And if I was to focus on him, I would definitely say that he has a lot of, not burdens, but there's a lot of responsibility. He's conflicted with his own morals and what he wants out of life and what he's actually requested of him in tradition, in family-based morals, in what he should do. So there's a real push and pull in him. He's been trying to develop as a young man, but also not get caught up in, pushing too much away from being a prince, because he has to follow the same ideals as the king and as his lineage that will take him back many Nemortis lineage years, that they've always done it this way. So who is he to basically change that? All right. All right, so this is where we've just moved across to the other side of Rivalex. This is that chapter, and we've just met Conrolic's just had a look at the King Elena Mortis, which is Prince Addi's father. The current king of the necromancers, Elena Mortis, grimly grinned at his archmage and fastened his scarlet robe, the necromancer's seal, tight against his skeletal thin body as he pivoted to face the onyx office. Conrolic had just given him confirmation. The king clutched his old, grey fingers around his gaunt grey face and pointy chin, recognising the foundations were now set for the most vital night of the necromancer's existence. It had been 1,000 years since the necromancer king Wollowas reigned, 1,000 years since the silky drake had thrived, and it had taken 1,000 years to finally unveil, in a second attempt, the survival of the silky drakes to the rest of the galaxy. He ran his fingers through his thin grey hair and inhaled. The silky aura, unknown to the Felrin, had been handed down through the Nemortis line for the past 1,000 years. The ancient practice of manipulating the Siliou for power and control lived on in him, Ellie himself, and in the new Drake, his son, Addi. Amongst the several thousand Archmage users, Prince Addi was an anomaly, but not the only one. Ellie's late brother had a son with SILKRI ability, Prince Addi, and a girl was found with SILKRI ability living in the city and stripped from her mother to be adopted into the royal family. Ellie wanted to ensure Kaija was apt enough as a Drake to eventually marry his son. He needed them to continue the line. Ellie sighed, his eyes saddened, glancing over the portrait of his deceased wife, Oeclensa Nemortis, to the left of him. Her limp black hair ruffled across a grey petite face and ruby red eyes, sitting plainly in a grey overcoat, generating a longing that tightened in the king's chest. He missed her. She was so beautiful, he thought. To lose her during their son's birth still haunted him. A creak of a door and the patter of approaching footsteps broke him from the trance. So that's a little bit of information about Prince Addi and obviously Oeclensa and what happened to her when Prince Addi was born, obviously. So, you know, these things happen. His mum died in childbirth. The Necromancers are a very, I would say, again, I'm going to use that word, misunderstood. They're complex. They have it's definitely another narrative that has a lot of progression to it. They are definitely searching for something to, I guess, bring back the pride that they originally had before 1,000 years ago, when their previous king was quite enamored by people and they adored him. He had really good elite aura with the SILKRI, and then he was condemned by the Felrin for having that ability. And that's, again, a whole other story that you'll see in the next series. But this series, we see Prince Addi fighting within himself to find out who he is as a necromancer. So, again, we all go through that in life. I do, you do. It's something that we struggle with. Do we do what our family lineage is and a tradition is, or should we find within ourselves our own path and find purpose and persevere and grow within that area as well? So the necromancers in and of themselves present great questions. They're a great bunch. Yeah, Prince Addi is very misunderstood, but I definitely have a soft spot for him. I've said that about all my characters because I don't have favorites. There are no favorites. They're not my favorites. But yeah, I have a soft spot for Prince Addi. We do see him quite prominently again throughout book 1, 2, and piecing in book 3. He is not really in the companion novel. But yeah, we do see him throughout Kaianan's life, only because of the close proximity of the necromancers to the Gorgon in Laos, and obviously it's what we know that the Giliu are based in Forster. So that's your 3 cities on Rivalex, and of course they're all intertwined as well. So again, I'm enjoying doing this at the moment. We'll get through a few more characters before we get to the book explanations. If you have any questions, again, reach out. The series is $155.95 AUD, so Australian dollar. That includes delivery Australia-wide, and you can get them signed. Great Christmas present, as I mentioned earlier. Please let me know if you have any questions on that. I'd love to hear your thoughts when you start reading the series, which characters are your favorite, which you have got that, soft spot for as well. But yeah, in the meantime, enjoy the Siliou Universe, and as always, vector safely.